Hi, welcome to this short video presentation on looking at the options that are available within the markup tools. To reveal the markup tools, we go to the markup on the top menu and left click, and this shows the menu options available. Now you're probably wondering why we have a markup for the PTP, Super PTPs and the TUFXP, and this is for those traders that have different settings for different types of indicators within the TUFXP Charting Software. So where do we actually change the settings for the PTP markup, Super PTP and TUFXP? Well, there are two places, and we have the default selection here and the active chart. So if you want a global setting, then you would come down to the default setting, and this is when you first load a chart. These are the settings that you would use, and click on the TUFXP indicators. Inside of here you can see that we have the PTP settings, but the ones we're interested at the moment that are pertinent to markups are trade markup, which by left clicking on this drop down here you can see we have these options available if we want the trades to be marked up automatically, which I have selected here, and also some other options on whether you want a signal that is available, then another signal appears to actually mark up both. That option is also available. And then again there are some other settings here. I would suggest that you just keep the default settings that you have. Also under the trade calculation, which again is relevant to here, these are the settings that are behind applying the actual markup on the chart, which we'll see in just a moment. So in the PTP box here again we have just some default settings. I don't like the trailing stop, but this is something that you can actually apply to the chart if you want to have a trailing stop. And again, as we scroll down you'll see there's the setting for the Super PTPs, again same options, and then for the TUFXP as well. So if you prefer to use a 25% entry for the TUFXs, then when you mark up the actual trade, then it will be in the TUFXP, and this way it saves you having to keep changing the settings in just one markup tool, so it gives you a lot more flexibility. So we're going to use the default settings. So what we're going to do is just to close out the settings menu there. So I don't have a PTP on the chart at the moment, and it doesn't really matter because if you develop a trading technique where you want to just mark up using the tools, what I'm going to do is to show you how to do this. And also when we looked at the options, I have automatic markup for the PTP, so if one appears during the recording then you will see it automatically appear on the chart. So if I wanted to apply a PTP markup to the chart, and let's just call this the markup because we don't have a PTP on the chart at the moment, but if I wanted to apply this to the chart, then what I need to do is to actually select it, and there you can see we have the blue square showing it selected, and this is the same for the other options as well. So I'm going to left click on the PTP there, and let's say I wanted to go long from here. I'm expecting prices to move higher. In order to apply this, we're going to actually click above the price bar and not below it. We're going long to the upside, so click on the upside. And as soon as I do that, you can see then we have the stop loss setting, the entry price and the scalp. The shaded area on the chart, the horizontal shaded area, shows us the spread on the actual currency. This is the GBP, which has a spread of 3, and that can be set down in the TUFXP indicators under trade markup, and you can see there you can apply the spread from the brokerage firm. The bid and ask line, this is the red line, and the black line, that can also be shown as well, and that can be found in the settings tab under chart type, and there show ask line. What I would do is suggest that you set this in the default settings so that it appears on all of the charts automatically. This is the sort of grey blue tab on the left here. These are the default settings, and these are the options that you can choose when you first create a price chart. So it's better just to have that checked automatically there in the default settings, and you can consult the video on the default settings in the website. So that's how you actually mark up a trade, and the relevant points there. You can say all of these here. You can find the options inside of the TUFXP settings. Again, you can set them as a default globally when you create a chart, or if you wanted to change them on an individual chart, then when you have the active chart shown, then you can click on there and then change it just for the individual price chart. Underneath markup, we also have some other options as well. Under annotations, we're going to left click and we can see that we have a fib retracement, line extensions, and multiple line extensions as well. So let me just remove the trade here, and there's two ways to do this. We can either use the delete button, or the method that I prefer is to right click and we can left click to delete the trade. We can also delete individual lines. We can also select the trade as well. If I just click on that, you can see we've got all these little grab handles now, and we can move this back and forth across the chart. You can also do them individually by left clicking on the text, and this also highlights the line and allows you to drag either way. You may have also noticed on the entry lines as well, if I right click, we have the risk management guide as well. So if you want to work out how much the risk is per trade, right click on the entry, left click on risk management, and this will appear on the left hand side. So here you can see how much is in the account, how much we're prepared to risk on each trade, the currency pair, number of points, etc. That we would be risking on the trade. So that is available as well, but in order to access it, you must right click and then left click risk management. So let me just close this. So getting back to the other markups, we have the fib retracement extension line and also the multiple extension line. So I'm just going to remove this to make things clearer. So I'm going to right click and delete the PTP trade there, or the trade calculation markup as well. It's interchangeable, of course. PTP markup if there's a PTP, and just a trade markup if you're choosing to trade differently and just use any of the individual bars to mark up a trade. So let's work out and use the fib retracement. In order to do this, we would left click on the fib button there to select it. The settings for the fib retracement is also in the settings as well. Again, I'm going to come to the default ones because once I make a change, I tend to make them in the default options so that they're available throughout the whole of the software, no matter how many new charts I actually load. So we're going to click on the settings tab, and we'll just go down to fib retracements, and in here you can see that we have over 10 permutations that we can actually create. We can actually change the colors and also the line style along with the width as well. So what I've done here is highlight the 62 and 76%. So I'm just going to close this now. I've highlighted the fib retracement, and if I want the lines to extend across to the right, then I make sure that the check mark is in there, and this will be done automatically so I don't have to actually drag the fibs. So let me mark up from the high, and then you can see I'm just left clicked on the high down to the low, and then just left click again, and you can see how the fibs shot across to the right there because I had the extend right. Let me remove that. Let me right click on this and delete this fib line, and then come back again, left click on the high down to the low to measure up to the upside, and there you can see this time it hasn't projected across to a clear space, whereas if I have the extend right, the next, well, not the next time when I draw it, let me just redraw it for you now with that selected. So from the high down to the low, you can see it's projected across and it's comfortably out of the way. Again, if I want to move these fib lines, I can right click and select fib and then just drag these together, or I might want to do them individually, so I can just left click on the one, get the little selection box and just drag back and forth as well. Let's remove this and let's have a look at extend right. In the extensions, I'm just going to left click on this, and again we can see this highlighted now. And again, if we come down into the settings panel, down to extensions, and again we have several options that are available. You can see the ones that I have selected and the line style that I've chosen, which is probably different from the default settings that you have. So now I can come up to the extend right. I want to draw across from this recent high just to see where the market's finding resistance. So I'm going to left click on this button. It comes up with a drop down. I'll just do that again, and I'm going to select the 0 line. I'm going to just click above the high, and this projects the extension across. Again, I can alter this by just left clicking on it and dragging it across. If I want to draw one below, left click, highlight the 0 and just below, and there I can see the 0 extension drawn there as well. You can also apply multiples. I'm just going to left click on this, and you can see here I've got the 0, the 50 and the 100 selected. So if I just move underneath, let's say this price bar, I haven't got one that's just completing. Let's go to the one before. Before we do that, let me just remove this delete all extensions here as well. There we go. So what I'm going to do is to left click, and there you can see the multiple lines applied to the chart. One thing to keep in mind, you must deselect this option to stop yourself from drawing others on the screen, and then this will reactivate the drag and drop, sorry, not the drag and pan that we saw in the navigation video. So to remove these extensions, again, just right click delete. We can select them all and drag them out, and again just left click to deselect. If I want to remove just an individual line, I can delete extension, the one that I'm clicking on, and then right click, left click to delete. And if I want to move this one across, I can just select it and then just drag and move accordingly. So I'm going to delete that as well. So that's how you use the markup tools that are available. You can find the further settings inside of the settings menu in both the default and the active chart. Remember that the default one will give you the global setting for when you create new charts and also load the software, and the settings in the active chart will only change the settings in the individual chart. If you have any questions about this, please do contact a member of the support team, and until the next time, thanks for watching.